I'd just like us to get to do a round of introduction, starting from Zedi as we come all the way, and just get to introduce yourself once again. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As you said, I'm Zedeki Ongangotieno. I'm an alumni at Africa Nazarene. I started coming to Nazarene in 2009. That is when I started coming to Nazarene. In 2009, I was in high school, but I was playing for Nazarene. That time I was at Aquinas High School. But then Nazarene used to allow outsiders to come and play for their team. So that is where my journey with Nazarene started in 2009. So I left Nazarene, then did my Form 5, Form 6, then did my diploma in community health and nursing, then did my degree in counseling psychology back at Nazarene, then did another diploma in sports development in relation to science, and currently I'm in school again doing another course called Train of Trainees. The reason why I'm saying this, all this is because of sports, and all those educational achievements have been done through sports. Okay, at no point in time have I had to pay like full tuition fee to do what? To pursue whatever I'm pursuing. Sports has played a hand in it. So that is how powerful sport is as a tool, and how it can open up your world and your scope and your networks. At the same time, I've been privileged to travel to 15 different countries across the world, not for fun, but because of sports. Okay, so that is how sports is. And as I said, currently the world is looking for sportsmen and women. This is the only career in the world that you can employ anyone. Okay. If you take a sportsman, they can employ a lawyer, they can employ a journalist, they can employ a nutritionist, they can employ a physio, whichever, a nurse. But a nurse cannot employ a what? A sports person. Okay. So for now, you may be a sports person in your career thinking that, oh, all is gloom, all is done. But you can still channel whatever course you're doing and put it into sports. Okay, you can still go do sports marketing, sports advertising, sports journalism, sports nutrition, sports psychology, sports and community. Okay, so to cut everything short, karibuni, and I'm looking forward to a very engaging discussion. Thank you.
So, apa Kiswahili ama English? So either way, my name is Oduor. I play at Central Michigan University. Nilianza hapa Strath, and nimeinteract na wengi wenu sana. Africa Nazarene is a special place to me because I know a lot of people from this school. I've seen them somewhere, pale Nyayo and all that. So it's not like I'm a visitor hapa hivi. So tutachanganisha Kiswahili kidogo. So I went to the States through Big Dream Vision in 2019, and this is my first time coming back, and it's just an honor just to see familiar faces, some people I grew up with, which are now at some point. So the new faces, I'm also excited just to interact with you and just share what sports can really do and like what impacts you can have through playing sports. So thanks.
Introduction. Good afternoon to you guys. First things first, thank you to Jermaine for organizing this and for you guys taking your time. It's a Friday afternoon, but for you just to spare some time to come and listen to what the three of us have to share with you, that already tells me a lot about where your heart is when it comes to sports. As Jermaine said earlier on, my name is Alan Abinadabowino. I'm a senior news anchor and a political journalist at K24, which is umbrella under MediaMax Network Limited. So it goes without saying, I am where I am today because of sports. This began way back when I was in Kisumu. I actually grew up in Jermaine. I'm born and raised in Kisumu, and at a time when people were playing soccer, I started playing basketball. by extension through my elder brother who used to play basketball, so that's where I developed the love. Played the game up to a very tentatively high level, I'd say, which is the men's Premier League right here. So I was in St. Mary's School Yala. From St. Mary's School Yala, I got a scholarship at Strathmore University, went and did my studies like undergrad there, graduated, found my way, which is a story for another day. I studied BBIT, but I found my way in the media industry, and that's where I've been plying my trade for the better part of the past 6 to 7 years, so to say. So I think without much further ado, we can get into it, and I'm open enough to answer whatever questions you'll be having. Once again, thank you for having me.
Now we'll just do a round of questions. I'm the moderator, your moderator for today. I'm Jermaine Odhiambo. Let me also introduce myself. I studied also at African Nazarene, that's my alma mater. Around my life here on earth, I got to rub shoulders with this amazing gentleman. Alan, we grew up together. His brother Dixon was always ahead of me. I think Dixon was with my sister in the same primary school. KJ as well, Kisumu pale. Tulikuwa tunamfunganga diapers. Yeye na brother yangu wakosemi. Then Zedeka tumejuana Nairobi hapa. Nilikuwa natupiga Zitex saa zingine tunampiga. Then akaamua kuja Nazarene. So ladies and gentlemen, as we continue, have your questions in mind. We'll get a point where you get to ask questions. But the panelists, now over to you. What motivated you to pursue a career in sports and education, particularly in the Kenyan context? You're free to start. Anyone can just.
I'll start. I can just sit here.
Yes, you can.
Mine is very interesting because going into Form 1, I was way chubby. I tell people this story, people don't believe, but my waist size was like 46 towards 50. I was this big boy going into Form 1. So I went into Form 1, then immediately they saw me, they threw me into rugby. So for the better part of like the first term, second term, I was playing rugby. I was in the ruck. Then I had a shoulder injury. So during my recovery, I used to go to the basketball court. So I used to sit there, watch. Then during my healing process, I started getting interested in basketball. Then push forward, Form 2, I get expelled from school because I was a naughty boy. I got into a fight with a teacher. That saw me, got expelled, then came back to Nairobi. So when I came back to Nairobi, the only thing that I could fall back to was basketball. So it happened that there's a tournament somewhere in Isili. I had to go play. Then once I played the tournament, then that is where Queen saw me. They were interested in me, and since then I've never looked back. So the incidences in my life, those are the things that made me choose sports. But growing up at, 5-6 years, I was not the type of person that will kick a ball, so will go out. No. But immediately that transition from primary school to high school, and going into high school where sports was a key thing, that is what transformed me and shifted me to. And then now the incident of getting expelled, and now the only thing I could fall back to was sports. And since then, I've never looked back.
So my basketball journey started in Kisumu. So I remember the first time working as that dog. Some people, they played for Anu at some point. This time I was a tall, lanky kid. Nilikuwa the tallest kwa age group yangu most of the time, and I never did basketball. I just did soccer and like other football. What did I say? Football, soccer, never. So nilikuwa nacheza tu futa for most of the time, and the change came like when I came around the high school. I didn't get the opportunity to get like a scholarship. Like some of you have played through scholarship in high school. I didn't really get that. I touched my first basketball like in high school, Form 1. Matter of fact, your time like when we joined the school, that's when like the season around February. That's when like the high school season is, like going on. So I didn't even like get a chance to really like even practice with the main team. There was already like a squad going on. So I got a chance to watch the games and that, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but I was just kind of interested on how the game was being played, the physicality, the pace, and that. So I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try. So that's when like we didn't have a basketball coach at that point, so we used to have actually like a teacher, mwalimu wa history. Anakuja hizo days za hautendo utamwona coach, like you'll never see like anybody just taking your hand and like teaching you like the fundamentals like of the sport. So most of the time you have to teach yourself. So I really didn't get that opportunity until like we had like a coach later, like Form 3 up Rivo. So like my early stages was like more of like watching what people do and like just trying to imitate and just try to copy that and try it by yourself. So most of the time I was not that confident because I was really tall and everybody had the expectation like, all right, once you're tall, you know something about basketball. But I really didn't know nothing. So I used to wait until everybody's gone. That's when I used to shoot my bricks, shoot with 2 hands with time, Then I just used to see people shoot with 1 hand. That's when I just started transitioning. And with time, like, let me just fast forward. So high school really didn't get like a lot of exposure like most of you like guys had. And I think we played Lakeside, and at that point I was still in high school. So I played for Lakeside, and they were still in Division 1. And it was like the series where like if you win the series, you get promoted to the Premier League. So that's when like we started. That was the last game. Like it was one of the series games. So most of the players wasn't there. I don't know what the situation was, but I got a chance to play with Paul Patrick and Josh, a bunch of like high school guys. And the crazy part, we went crazy. And after that, Coach Tony reached out to me, and I ended up starting there. So in 2019, there was a camp hosted by Big Dream in Kisumu, and I went to the camp. I was not confident enough. I was like, these people, like the people present at the camp are people like who started playing basketball. They already made their name. Some of them like was already known in high school. But I was like nobody, I was just this kid who just, most of the guys like already knew basketball. Before even I knew how to dribble, they was already like playing in high school and that. And I was like, I don't even know if I could make it to because they was only choosing 2 guys, the top 2, to get the scholarship. And I don't know what came into my mind. And the previous week, there was a game in Sharimoyo, and there's this guy, Anachiza Ulinzi. He used to play for Ulinzi. We were just sitting at the gate. I didn't have like, decent basketball shoes. We were just sitting at the gate. Then this guy just walked up to me, and he just gives me like a pair, the same pair he just played with. He just gave it to me. We were sitting like 3-4 guys over there on the stone by the gate. And that really like, it kind of disturbed me for a while. I was like, why did he even give me the shoes out of everybody there? Because he came and asked me what shoes you wear. I said 14, because I was putting on size 14 by then. Then he just gave me the pairs. And when I was going to Kisumu, I didn't know if I would even be in that tournament, that camp, because I didn't even have the right shoes, But like him giving me the shoes, I was like more confident. So I was like, that's a good sign for something good coming. So I don't know, that day, I was just outstanding, and I was honored enough to be selected as the top 2. I don't know where the courage came from, but I didn't even think about it. Matter of fact, let me just be honest with it, because it's already passed. When I saw the squad that was there, like I was competing against, I was like, ichakula hii ndio sana ngoja. Juu kulikuwa na pilau inapikwa hapo. Nikasema bora nimekula hii food. Niko fiti. So like I didn't even have the pressure of like even try to press something, but like with time, I'm just competitive in nature, and like, I was gifted with the length, athleticism, and I stood out. So that's how I ended up going to the States, and since then my basketball journey has taken me places. The States has like around 54 states, and I've been blessed to travel to over half of the states, like 27, 28, just playing basketball. Like there's a point where we used to like fly out every weekend to a different state, to different tournament. So that enough can show you how basketball can, open doors for you. I've met people I've never met. I've been to NBA games. Those people I used to see on pictures, on the TV. I've seen them live on the court side. I've even got time to interact with some of them. So that's how basketball, you can use it as a tool to take you places and also like inspire other people through the game of sports.
Yeah, so before Alan comes into it, I'd just like to, I know amongst our audience there are also hockey players. Which other sport? Hockey and? Just hockey and basketball. Okay, so it's this.
Cheers.
What? Hockey and chess. So some of the things our panelists are sharing, cuts across all sports. They mentioned basketball because maybe they've related to basketball most, but it's literally cuts across all sports. I'm going to take it away.
Yeah, sure thing. Well, my story is not as exclusive, probably similar to most of the guys in the country. But even as I give a brief summary of the same, we never used to have such things. When I was growing up, such things set up for people to come and share. And we already here, this is a small group. So ask whatever questions you want to ask. Be as confident as you want to be. Without confidence, you're dead in this country. You're dead in this world. So I always try to tell people that be as confident as you can be if you want anything out of this life. That was just as we're moving on. So don't shy away from asking whatever questions. Be as open as you can be today and whatever you're doing in life. So as I mentioned earlier on, my journey began in Kisumu, born and raised in Kisumu, played basketball because of my elder brother. I used to be a soccer player, but at some point I quit that, then I started playing basketball. I'd played basketball literally 90% of my life. I remember there was a time I was in Aga Khan Primary in Kisumu. I used to skip classes to go and play basketball at a place called Sports Ground. So I was among the few people who would be privileged enough to play among us, the who's and the who's. There was another player called Dede. I don't know. Yeah, there was another short, super short, Dede. So I was with Dede and me. We were among the few people who would be given a chance to play among the who's and the who's. So from that age, I knew that I had something special in me. At least that's what I told myself, even if it didn't come out as that to many people. So through that, played the game. And when I got to class 8, now this is a good transitioning point of your life from primary to high school because it will define your basketball journey. You know that form that people are given to fill the schools that they want to go to when they're going? I only failed one school in that whole form. People should fill, I think, 8 to 12 schools. I only failed one school. And I knew that I wanted to go to Maseno. I only failed one school. I failed Maseno school. That way I was in class 8. Did my exams, passed my exams, but I wasn't called to Maseno school. Tried to get means of getting there. I didn't get an opportunity. But I told myself my journey is not ending there. So I was supposed to go to Nairobi school. My mom wasn't a bad idea. I don't know why my mom didn't want me to go to Nairobi school. The letter was there. She wasn't comfortable with it. So eventually I ended up in St. Mary's School, Yala. So that's where I got there. The basketball program there wasn't necessarily as strong as Maseno, which is the powerhouse in the Nyanza region. But I told myself I can make something special out of it because I always like not necessarily being part of the A team. I always like challenging the A team because that's where your prowess and your skills are able to be told and set apart from the other crew. So I was in St. Mary's School. I remember when I got into Form 1, Form 2 I was made the captain. So I was captaining guys in Form 2, Form 3, Form 4. So I believe my coach saw something in me and I was made the captain from then. That year, we didn't necessarily perform too well, but the next 2 years were not so bad. I played in the provincial finals in my final year. And I remember I was actually really excited because I knew that we were going to play in the nationals, but something again happened. Northeastern produced a team. Northeastern produced a team and I was like, what? But I was super happy for my performance because the previous year I played in the provincials, the semi-finals of the provincials, which takes you to the nationals, and the following year I played in the finals. And why I'm so proud of that journey is because through that, we never had coaches. We never had people who dedicated their time to basket. So 60% of my time as a player was developing other players. So you're a player and you're coaching other people to learn basketball. And I remember it hurt me another season because somebody walked up to me and told me, Alan, it's been over a month and I don't think you train. You train other people, but you're not training yourself because you don't even have the time to work on your game. But it hurt me because I was beat in the district finals, which was very painful. So eventually worked onto that, did my thing, went and played in the semi-provincials. When I got back to school, I was just prepping for my exams. My coach called me and they told me, Strathmore, willing to give you an basketball scholarship, all you need to do is get a B. I've never necessarily been a book smart, so I've always been an average student. Whenever I want to get A's, I have to really focus. So I've never really given, pardon the language that I'm about to use, I've never really given two shits about books. So I've always just told myself I'll do whatever I need to do to get me by. So I did whatever I did, and I got that B that Strathmore wanted. So finished high school, immediately transitioned. I didn't have that break that people usually have from high school. So transitioned into Strathmore, went through, did my undergrad there, played in the different leagues, finished, and I'd say it was a good journey again, because Strathmore really opened my eyes onto a different view of life. And I'd really told myself that I wanted to be a professional basketball player. That's something that I told myself. I wasn't going to be any other thing. The plans were super serious. This is something I've never really shared with anybody, but since we're talking about sports, I can speak about it in public because it will sort of define our discussion moving forward. So it got to a point where my mom and my auntie who lives in the States, they're like, you know what, Alan has been super serious about this basketball thing. I think I was in my third year. So let's see what we can do about it to see if it can go somewhere. So my auntie made a couple of calls for different camps, and she got a camp in Spain. This was one of the Euro camps that happens for about 4 to 5 months. You go attend the camp, then after the 4 or 5 months, you're taken through another phase of tournaments. Then after that, people are open up to scouts. So if you're lucky, you can be scouted by a Division 2 team in the league that is played in Spain or any other place. So I was really excited about this, gave it my all. We paid everything. We spent close to $1 million, Bob, because the camp was costing about 700 to 800,000. Then the flight tickets, of course, the return tickets would cost you about 200,000. So we spent close to $1 million shillings. All was said and done, only to come and realize that this camp was a scam. Wow. It was a scam. I remember I hadn't read for my exams when I was in campus. I had put that to the side. I was training a lot. And somebody who can attest to this is my best friend, who's Samuel Mogoko. I think they both know them. I was training a lot and I didn't share much. Even him, he was saying, hey, you've been training. I was working out, waking up at 4, hitting the road because I was really prepping. I told myself, if I get onto that plane, I'm becoming a professional basketball player one way or the other. So it turned out that the whole camp was a scam. We tried to call, nobody was picking up. My visa was declined because the embassy has to call those people to actually confirm the camp is there for them to be giving you that visa. It was declined. Super rough. That happened. Fast forward about 3. So we lost that $1 million, Bob. 3 months down the line, my other best friend passes on. He was called Billy, passes on. Super rough year. So it was just a really messed up year for me. And I think that is where I sort of like took a different shift in direction, considering sports is not necessarily a career as per se in Kenya. So it was time to just recalculate everything in my life and try and figure out. And that's how I now transition from specifically focusing on playing the game, but now trying to find ways to make the game better so that somebody cannot go through what I went through, because I'm among the few privileged people who their parents were willing to spend that amount of money to see that my talent would pay off. But how many people are that privileged? We have, I think, on a scale of 10, we'd have 1 to 10. So that's why I told myself, now I'll focus my energy on trying to improve the scene right here for basketball players. Sorry, for people who are involved in other sports. I believe there are other people, but I relate more with basketball. So that's why I'm using that as a reference point. So that has been my journey so far, but it's through basketball that I got a scholarship to Strathmore, opened my eyes, and it's through that I've been able now to get to where I'm in life today, doing what I get to do. Yeah.
Many thanks. So now we're getting into the challenges and opportunities for student athletes. What are some of the biggest challenges faced by student athletes in Kenya in regards to balancing academics and sports? Anyone can just pick it up.
So I'm a student, so I mean, I'm more familiar with that. So I realize like people have different like priorities, you know. So some people really value the sport more than the academics, but I understand like it's a student athlete, but it's not like the other way around, like an athlete student. So you must be a student first to be even called a student athlete. So a lot of people just think like talent can really take you places, but like without academics, I feel like I've seen people, we went to camps and that, and like they're way more talented than me, but like the thing that really set them back is just the academics part of it. They really don't take care of the academics, and like coaches, like I ain't gonna lie to you, even if you get like an opportunity to go to the States, like it's just no talent. Like it's both. Like you have to balance both academics and basketball. So one of the challenges is just like at times for me, my major is cellular and molecular biology. It's like a pre-medicine track, so it's taxing. So it's a lot of work. You have to give as much as you give like on basketball to school as well. So for me, my main challenge right now is like just a lot of work. Like it's a full-time sport job. You wake up in the morning. You do like, for example, like me, you have to go to weights around like 6 to 7, 6:30 to 7:30. Then after that, you have like 15 minutes to go to the locker room. You got a shower. Then after that, I have like a lab. For example, like on Tuesday, I have a lab at 8. So it's a quick like turn. So I have to run there, I have to then after the lab, it's like a 3-hour lab. Then after that, I have like 2 back-to-back classes. So I really don't even get time to eat good lunch. Then after that, you got straight practice at 3. And practice, like, tell me it's practice. Like, I tell you, like, it's practice. It's not like like he be up, baby. Like, it's like drill after drill after drill, conditioning, all that. It's all mixed in one session. So at times, like, we really fail to recognize the importance of like academics. So we really give basketball more time and commitment, and we even forget about our classes. Oduor. Then it gets to that point of the semester when you really have to get your grades right. Then you are like in a rush. Like I have to get an A in this class. I have to get like a 70 in these exams for me even to pass the course. Like koja ile kujaribu nataka nikifika hiyo 40. You have to like start doing your calculations. Like I have to get this in order to pass the class. At this point, you're not even aiming to get like an A or a B. You don't want to have like a retake. So, I'll be part of that. So I know how it works. Like I said, not too comfortable in it. Mazeni nikipita tu C, I'm like the passing point. That you're classical. I'm cool with it. So at times we really like just prioritize like sports more to nacha classes and all that. Like then we all in a rush, but in bad situations, you have like situation in say graduate in time because like they didn't finish some units or they failed some units. So that's like if you're on a scholarship on a Jipata, you have to go dig in your pockets again and like pay for the extra units and that. And with that, if you just GP time, create time for everything, you can avoid all that and just finish like your course umepita vizuri, which opens the doors for like job opportunities, sindio? Jota ukimada chuo baki utacha back at some point in life, so you have to fall back on something. So if you went to school for this particular career, you can like have that to fall back to. But to fail exam, you look back like more of like your yote umepea basketball, then like ukiangalia papers, they're not qualities. So you use basketball to pay for school, yeah, but like that school part of it is not really helping you as much as you could have done if you invested more in class as much as you invest on basketball.
Anyone from panelists to add on to that briefly?
Oh, okay, maybe just to add on what Cage has talked about, right? Of course, it goes without saying. People say education is not everything, but I always add one thing: it's something. So you don't have to be an A or a B student. Your pass is just enough to get by. The reason as to why I say education is something is because just imagine if in any case you didn't have your degree, nobody would be willing to listen to you. So what I tell young students is that the degree is more of a stepping stone, in the sense that if you have a degree, somebody has a minute to listen to what you're saying. But just do a calculation and try and imagine if in any case you are super talented, you have all that it takes to be among the best athletes in the country, but you haven't gone to school. Even in as much as somebody speaking to you, somebody would still have that ringing voice in the back of their head. They're like, but this person, we didn't go to school, but okay, so yeah. So it gives you some sense of validation, and it gives you that opportunity to just have a foot in the door. So you don't necessarily have to be an A student, that's what I always tell people, or a B student, but just try and pass your units. Have the degree with you, because it will help you get in certain places that you could have not necessarily gotten into without a degree.
What's that?
Education is long term. The only time you stop learning is when you die, and you don't know if you die if you stop learning.
Yeah.
So it's long term. So it will not stop today, not tomorrow. Whether you're going to play basketball, you still have to learn plays. That is still learning. Still have to develop your IQ. Yeah. Now most of the times you are on TikTok, IG, Instagram. If you use half of that time to finish your assignment, you're a better athlete. Yeah. And he said, first you're a student before you're a what? An athlete. Okay. So make sure. But education is long term. Every single day of your life. Even when you walk outside here, there are billboards, there are what? You're going to read them. You're going to read them. Yeah, you're going to read them. That is education. That is knowledge. Because next time you'll be asked, hii kitu iko wapi? Utakumbuka utasema, iko kwa ile junction ya nini? That is education. Yeah, that is education. So it's long term. So it never stops. So try keep yourself reading every time, read. Even if it's a paragraph of something, it may be meaningful or not, but read. It sets you apart from the rest.
Yeah, just to add on that, actually, like, Uko was how to even get a scholarship in college is so hard in it. They just go like for the little details. Like, all of you, 6'9", athletic, all that, you can do the same things. Or what really can give you an opportunity if you have better grades than the other guys. To Uko, like, no coach will want to get like a player where like they have to spend and invest a lot of time. Kufuata nice, ulienda class, ulifanya hivi, unapass class, sama nini. So like that little like your academics can really be like inaweza set apart from the rest of the guys. Some guys will be even more talented than you, but the coaches will look at you like, like talent is more of like you naturally. You have some time, like this guy might not be like as talented, but he's smart. That means like he listens, he follows instructions. So they're gonna be like, you know what, we can like train you so you can be like the other guys. But the fact like we don't have to follow you around to go to classes, to handle your business, to communicate to your professors. Like I'm gonna travel, for example, you're traveling like during a weekday, you won't be able to attend like a class. So if you are not responsible enough, I would call like I email professors. No. Then all those like in a pile up by the end of the semester, uende kwa hiyo ofisi, uende kwa ile ofisi, like they try to fix things for you, and that thing is like a headache. I trust you trust me when I say that. You like pale kuna stress yenye wanataka stay eligible like just to play, but like other people they can play, yeah. At times like some people like they're the best players in the team, but their grades won't even allow them even to touch the court. So at times like just education itself will put you in a spot like you'll prosper more than Kaunge value education.
Yeah, and I would wrap that question by saying what a good friend of mine says, Hilda Indasi. She says education is like insurance. Because just as Zedi said, today you read it, but tomorrow you know how the insurance works. That's how education works. You pay for it, you take it in, then its benefits, usually it's long term and comes longer and longer. On to the next question, impact of sports in education and personal development. Can you share any success stories or examples of student athletes who have excelled in both sports and academics in Kenya?
I can take it on.
Yeah.
I can start with myself. Yeah, I'm a living testimony. Yeah, I'm a living testimony of what sports can do to you. Okay, because I'll tell you for a fact, when I got into Aquinas, I was expelled from Agorosari. So I'm expelled from Agorosari, I come into Aquinas. My dad tells me, bro, uko peke yako. Simama kupigana. Wejisort. Okay. So I had to admit myself in Aquinas. Coach T9 had to take me in. Anytime I used to be sent out for school fees, ilikuwa ninatoka Coach T9 because then he was the boss or something. When I come back to class, my nini is nil. My school fees is nil. How I did it, I don't know. Me, I'm on scholarship. I did that. Went to NIS. Did my Form 5, Form 6. Again on a scholarship. And this also says how important education is and also your social life in school. Because when I was finishing NIS, I had a fee of 360-something thousand that I had accumulated. So while I was in NIS, I was doing psychology, I was doing law, I was doing business, and I was doing IT. Those are my... So when it came to IT, I was 4th in class. When it came to psychology, I was 2nd in class. When it came to law, I was 2nd in class. That is because Mogoko didn't do exam. But I would have been 3rd in class. Yeah. When it came to econ, I didn't like econ. So I was like 4th or something. Yeah. And then now, whenever there was drama, there was music, there was what? I used to participate in all those. So when it came, I'd done my exam, I'd passed. Now I cannot get my certificate in school because of what? Because of the fee balance. I sat down with Miss Lee and I told Miss Lee, whatever you're telling me to pay, I can't pay. But she reflected and looked at everything. Because when you look at the cultural dance, when you look at CG dancing, the team football, they're lacking one player. When you look at rugby, they're lacking one player. I was that guy, extra player, who was volunteering to do what? To go take part, participate, and we win. Okay, then it came to ZTech, the same thing. It's a scholarship. I was top in my class. When it came to African Nazarene, I think I was like 2nd best in my graduation year in my class. So, and then after that, now I've gone, because I have all this knowledge, all this network. Anyone that interact with, they'll just tell you because of your papers and everything. And that is success. That is success. So it's possible, it can be done, but you just have to be smart how to do it. And at the end of the day, don't let sports use you or basketball use you. Use sports to get these opportunities. Okay? Don't come to African Nazarene, spend 5 years, 6 years, yet you're on scholarship. You're wasting yourself. Okay? You're wasting yourself. Use the least amount of time to pursue your career or your degree or your course, then move out. Because there's an opportunity somewhere else for you. So don't let sports use you. Yeah? Don't let coach start looking at your grades, you what. There are coaches outside here, they want you to fail so that you play for them next year. Yeah, I've seen it happen. Yeah, they not check your grades, they not do what. Okay, yeah, so make sure that every success, those are milestones. I remember, this is a personal story. I was the first coach to coach Kayatiwi. When I walked into Kayatiwi, they didn't have dawn, they didn't have prep, they didn't have anything. But I had to make basketball players go for prep, go for dawn. You see, so I changed the whole culture. Now they have prep, they have dawn, they have everything. You see, and during my time there, my lead student, yeah, you guys know Oyo, yeah, Oyo had a C. That was my lead student. Immediately I left Kayatiwi, the same player now has E's and D's. You see, because the next person who came in, they didn't care about the academic and all that part. You see, so it's so important. Take your time, work on your books. You can succeed. Okay, you can succeed. Yeah. So me, personally, I'm a success story. I've gone through the system that you guys are going through, and I'm coming out. And as I come out, I'm now looking at opportunities. Me, I went into self-employment after being employed. Now I'm into self-employment. Okay, I have my own academy, I run my own things, I do my own things, I build my own networks. Okay, but it's because of the knowledge I have. Sasa.
Maybe to the next two panelists, if you can chime into this question. In what ways does sports programs, I wish our sports directors and all were here because we sent invites. In what ways do sports programs enhance the university experience and promote holistic development among students?
Okay, I mean, That's a very interesting question and a good one, I'd say. So, when I was coming in for the Strathmore scholarship, which I believe is the best basketball scholarship in the country as we speak. Probably USAU comes in second. I don't know what the other varsities are offering in terms of a basketball program, but Strathmore has the best scholarship program. Now, in the current state that it is in, it's a shell of what it used to be. And I say this because when the first cohort of the people who are getting into Strathmore, the likes of Ocampo, the likes of Ameso, the program was 100% scholarship. So all you needed to do was present yourself to school, study, and all your tuition fee was catered for. Now, that at some point changed. The university went through the whole program, looked at certain issues, and decided, you know what, when we offer 100% scholarships, then that means you detach the involvement of the parents in the program. So when your folks are detached from it, there's nothing as beautiful as going home and telling your mom that fee for 300,000 per term, because that's the fee per term, say 300,000 shillings per term is taken care of. When your mom or your dad listens to that, they'll be like, okay, here's your pocket money, I'm done with you, I'll see you in 4 months. So they really don't care about your input in school and what necessarily happens. And most of the times when you're looking at the Kenyan context, people get into university pretty young, because guys begin school a bit early, not as it was back then with our folks. Guys get into university when you're about 19, so you don't know much about life. You want to tell yourself that you know much about life, but you don't. So if you're not as strong as you need to be, you get lost in that campus life, and a lot of things can go wrong in that phase where you're in campus. So they thought to themselves, you know what, let's now give it on percentage basis. And the percentage basis was also pegged on your high school performance. So if somebody had an A, you qualified for a higher percentage, say give or take about 90%. That's when the person we keep referring to, Mogoko, that's how Mogoko came into Strathmore, and he got I think his was about 90%, and he was doing law. Yeah, he was doing law. So his was 90%. So your mom just does the calculation, she pays for 10%. Now, this 10%, it's not small money. But since your mom is paying for it, there's now that interest to get involved in that particular sort of program. And I think that's one of the best things Strathmore did, just moving away from that 100%, because now in terms of developing yourself holistically, it gives you that perspective that, you know what, life is not as easy as people want to see it. Nobody gives you anything for free, because initially it was 100% free, so you're there. So that also helps. Secondly, when you're looking at sports programs in universities, I think they're very important, because sports should be viewed as something that assists you to approach life in a better way. Because again, as basketball, it's a team sport. So I have to understand what sort of person Zadie is. I have to understand what sort of person KJ is. Is he easily irritable? Is he provoked easily? Is he a team player? So this sports program, they contribute a lot in terms of developing players holistically, because they just give you that gist of how to go about life. And I think students who view scholarships in that manner get the most out of it, because I think most of you not probably the guys who are seated here, but most of the students who go for these scholarship programs, their aim is just to play basketball, play football. That ends at some point. And the unfortunate thing is that it ends immediately you toss your cap on your graduation day. So you have to learn about life when you're in school, as Zed did. And it's because of that, he's now running his own academy. He's making basketball work for him. So if you don't learn about life and get that holistic approach when you're undergoing a scholarship program, I think you're doomed. So try not to be part of the people who are doomed. Yeah.
Maybe now on the flip side of it, AJ in the US, how are parents involved with their 100% scholarships? How do you guys do it?
So there's this program called the Booster Family Programs, and that's where you get assigned a booster family. Like when you join the school, the team, as long as you're part of the team, like one of my old schools, they just give everybody's assigned a family that's gonna take care of you. They're gonna buy you them little stuff. That sometimes you're international, you can't really work a lot. So you might need some things, but you don't have the capability to get. And once you have a booster family, they're part of the team, like they donate stuff. You know, there are some people who can really like raise that. Like from what I know, like Upper Kenya, there's no like 100% scholarships, and like I feel like if the universities could like just take these like idea and like just put it into use, because I know like there's some rich parents, like there's some rich people in the school who can like take 1 or 2 students to kind of like fill in that little space, just stand in the gap. Sometimes hauna kiatu, like hauna fare, just like people commute and all that. So in the States, like they try to keep everything so efficient. Like the only thing you have to focus is just you taking care of your academics and you performing on the basketball gym, because like you might have the excuse like sikwana transi, I didn't have this, I didn't have that. So those like they eliminate all that. That's why like some people just go to the college just for 1 year. They go to the professional like leagues one and up. It's like just a transition. Like college is just like a stepping stone before, like because like when you talk to high school knowing yeah. But like the fact like the parents, some like the board members of the school are like directly involved with the team, that's when you really get to like, for me it was like a win for me, because like I went in there, I don't have my family there, I'm just by myself. At times you really just need the family around you, you know what I'm saying? So during Christmas, like it's like a family event gathering, like people like sharing smiles, gifts, all that. But when you're like an international student, you don't have your parents, you don't have your siblings, you don't have like any relative, it can be hard, you know what I'm saying? So like they really try to make you feel at home while you're not at home. So like I feel like if Kenyan universities can like take that and like just put it into use, they can help those students with like little things, like might prevent you from just reaching your goal. So like the only thing you have to worry about is just you playing basketball and you performing, and like that, if I don't have to worry about like ntarudi home aje, I will like eat for dinner, all that, like I'll be playing with like, I'm happy, I'm actually like enjoying playing basketball. It's like a hobby. It's not, you're using basketball to escape reality at times. Sometimes like maisha ni ngumu. But like I feel like if we have that kind of like taken care of, you'll have more time, like you'll have like more focus on like what I need to do. You can control, we can control. It's not, kuna vitu vingine huwezi control. So I feel like if they can control some things like we can't control, because we can't really choose where we're from. So we choose like nizaliwe kwa hii family kuna do, nataka nizaliwe pale. No, some things like you can't really control. Like those is out of your control. So I feel like universities and parents at times they should, like come up with something like a program, and your pesa kidogo na donate in there, like just I'm not really trying to like set up the whole thing, but I'm just saying like this is an idea they can use, just chip in something little, and like with the coaches and like just the the faculty wanaweza chini waseme jamaa anatoka hapa, because like for you, like coaches should do a better job to know the background of the kid. Jojo jamaa anatoka east sides, this is how the family is, they can't pay this, they can't do this, they can't afford this, but they can't afford that. So with all that knowledge, they know how to like help somebody accordingly. Sindio, niseme huyu, he has like the access to everything. Ana yoshida fare, ana shida food. Juno like bake, or not like some people saw me before niende, sindio, nilikuwa hivi. But say at least, because pale unataka ukule, like hatuna diet, no. I feel like if we have those little things, like parents should just like take it as an initiative and use basketball as an investment. Sindio, invest in basketball, and if you invest in basketball, like not even basketball, like all sports, like I'm not trying to be just exclusively basketball, but like if they invest in that, like people will have motivation to play, because if somebody supports you, you don't want to like disappoint them every time. Sindio, like nobody wants to support a team and leo mepigwa na 30, kesho mepigwa na 40. No. That it up at least like they will have like that sense of competing for something. Ushana like wakiweka do hapa, tuna compete in tona, win anapata 100k. Compare that to a tournament yenye you just win it like kuna 20k ama something. If there's something to compete for, nambe wase wanacheza ngware, besides that, like hiyo day unashangaa mjamaa na shooting tatu. Like they have like external motivations, So I feel like if they have something they have to like play for,
Yeah.
And that I feel like that extra support system like will probably just help a lot. It's not.
Yeah. Which brings us to the next question. Maybe Alan and Zedi, what are the investment opportunities within the college structure of sports in Kenya?
First and foremost, the thing that we need to work on, or they need to work on, the guys who are in this space, is infrastructure. Yeah. I'll take an example like Strathmore. Strathmore is very, very centrally placed. When you look at its proximity from the airport to Strathmore, to town, to businesses, it's very, very central. And if you look at also, it's in a suburb whereby the people within the community are capable. But if you look at their facilities, they're not to the state that it needs to be. Because when you're able to build your facilities to the state they need to be, then it becomes an opportunity. Because you can hire them out. Yeah. Branding within it, the name itself can change. You see, so such things are very, very good points whereby investors may want to put in their brands, their staff, and it may give you more in terms of investment in your maybe scholarship kitty. Notwithstanding, the team performance is also something that needs investment in coaches, because the coaches need to like get that extra knowledge so that they're able to prepare a team that is able to compete. And then apart from that, it's just the experience, the sport experience within the school. Because, for example, if you come to African Nazarene, the student population is almost 10,000. Yeah, the both guys who are e-learning and also on campus. If you look at Strathmore, it's almost similar, 6,000, 8,000. If you look at KU and stuff, start hosting your games at home. Once you have a state-of-the-art facilities, yeah, go play KU at their place, go play Nazarene at their place. Let students come start paying, even if that's 50 shillings. It may be 50 shillings now. In 10 years, it may be 1,000 shillings. And if that gym is full, voila. Yeah, if you look at things like Strathmore have the Strathmore Leos, one of the best rugby teams in the country. But if you look at their home games, no student comes to watch, maybe a couple who loves rugby. They have one of the best basketball teams. How many students come? Because they're not sitting places. There's no food on site. There's no entertainment on site. So we have also started looking at sports as a what? As an entertainment and not just sports. And we create an atmosphere that brings everybody on board. Yeah, I've been privileged to go to some of the best facilities in the world, both in football, both in basketball. And people will go to the event not to watch the football but because there's nice beer, because there's nice pizza, because there's KFC. You see, in that gym. You see, so those are some of the points, the things we need to look at and make sure that the experience is better for students, so that students are able to come back and invest into the sports. You see, for example, I've been part of the Nazarene culture since 2009. But if you walk around here, no single student have a Nazarene basketball jersey or a Nazarene basketball. So where's the pride in that? So merchandising, that is something else. So there are so many opportunities that we are able to raise money and push sports that way. But we need to change some of these things, the facilities and all that.
And maybe Alan, if you can breathe into that, also centered around basketball, the federation itself, and how we can do better.
It's literally, I think Zed has just taken the words out of my mouth, because if you've been keen on what I've been doing of late, and of course it goes without saying, I still stand on my position that I'm running for the Secretary General for the Kenya Basketball Federation. The elections will be held next year, so I'm still on that, and we've been working behind the scenes to see to it that this comes into fruition. So it's literally what Zed has spoken about. It's because for a very long time, we've treated sports as a game. It's not a game. It's for the people who are coming to experience this to see it as a game. It's not for you, the basketball stakeholders, to treat it as a game. It shouldn't be treated as that. Because when you look at basketball, say for example again, when basketball is it's what I call a niche sport. It's what I call a niche sport in Kenya, so to say. But it's a big sport globally. Now, when you have a niche sport, that gives you an advantage. It's easy to package the sport, it's easy to sell the sport, and it's easier to bring people on board because you're working with a small number. If you juxtapose that with soccer, soccer becomes a bit hard because it needs big stadiums. Filling up the stadiums becomes an issue. Setting up the stadiums themselves to be at par is an issue. That's why we're even struggling. It's when you can imagine in 2024, it's when the government is currently renovating Kasarani so that we can be ready for AFCON in 2027. So it tells you the importance of having this infrastructure. So for basketball, it's an advantage because locally, we have a number of courts. Most are in indoor setups. So that means 60% of the job is done, right? So packaging this as a business is literally the sole focus that both colleges and any administration, say in our case, KBF, should be having. I see people have been talking about Friday night basketball is back. That's crappy nonsense. That's nonsense. There's nothing we've been having here. It's the federation filling a stadium, an indoor court that has poor sanitation. I can't even invite my girlfriend to come and watch a game. Where is she going to take a shot call? We have filthy washrooms there, never been sorted out. But you now pride yourself on the fact that you're filling a gym. That's not at it. It should be an experience. Once you make your games an experience, even in Nazarene for your home games, once you make it an experience, then people have a reason to come. Most of the men don't come for these games, even if you're looking for the NBA and all. They don't come to watch Jason Tatum play. No, they want to come and look at the next babes who's wearing a hot pant with big tits, and that's what it's all about. I know. These are things that you don't want to. People don't like talking about them. But
sorry to cut you short.
Yeah.
If you read the story about the Lakers, and when they started with the girls who dance, that is it.
See?
There were men who are only coming to the gym for that 5 minutes. Those girls dancing with those things.
That's it.
And that is now it's something that is replicated all over.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I tell, and it's so simple. Like the other time I was asking somebody, yes, you've been filming the indoor arena at Nyayo when you're having these big games, right?
With the players, though, not
With
fans.
and that's what I'm telling you.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the fan base needs to extend past
Past,
the
the
players
players,
who are playing there
I'll
in lower tier
even
leagues and
surprise
down.
you.
Yeah.
When you compare Kenya and Nigeria with the second highest consumers of NBA in the world, in Africa, second highest consumers of NBA in Africa. So it means we have a bigger fan base, a basketball fan base in Kenya, who are sitting at home and they're not even aware that there is what is called KBF, their local game. And you see, those are the people that we need to entice. And we're not going to entice them if they come in, they pay 1,500 shillings, they don't have a place to sit. When they come in, because you see, of course, I can come in, me, I'll stand. But what about my son that I want to entice?
Yeah.
What about my friend who I want to entice? You see, so that is the next level. And when we package it nicely, it's okay. It's okay, and it can be done. But now, the greed and the...
You just need visionary leaders. And a point that I'd also add to anybody who's trying to do anything, anybody who's trying to, and I know it's a long step, but we're eventually going to get there. By the time next year comes, we would have opened eyes, because even right now, when I speak to people, I've spoken to over, I think close to 6 or 5 betting company heads. We're in the process of drawing up plans to see how they can invest. Nobody's bringing money where there's no ROI. Nobody's bringing money where there's no ROI. So I tell people, you have to be very intentional. Show people this is the plan, and this, even you in your own capacity, whatever you're doing, try to make somebody, even if you're going to pitch something, let them from the first instance see what they're going to get in return. Secondly, if you're a business person, I know some of you might be entrepreneurs. This is something that people are never told, but I want to give you the juice. If you're doing anything in life, 80%, if you're in business, focus your energy on women. I'm telling you, if you're doing anything in life, package whatever you're doing around women. Women are the people who buy tickets. Women are the people who buy books. Women are the people who go out of their way to buy clothes and promote these things. Men only buy alcohol. Men only buy alcohol and do that. So even in as much as we're talking about packaging, as you can see, my first point when I was telling you about what is ailing the Kenya Basketball Federation is when you're inviting me to the gym, my first point is sanitation. It has to be very clean for a lady to be in a position to take a break when they're sipping their beer, but that is not available. So if you cannot push or bring the ladies to the gym, then you have no business in sports.
Okay, just to add on those, like I've been able to, experience the international part of it, and like I tell you, it's like a whole different. Like if you compare like our culture here and their culture, it's like from heaven to to earth and heaven. Like it's so different. Like there's some things we don't really value. Like things like basketball, like just not basketball, but like just sports in general, is like an investment. We invest in a good gym. People will come to the gym and like they're gonna pay like the money used to even build up the facilities, and that you can recover that even if it's like a little loan or something. So I'm just saying, like if you have a good facility, right, you have like good entertainment, like bit of it, like you're entertained. Certain up with the coach back this amount of money and it's a mediocre basketball. Like not everybody wants to do that. Me personally, like my mom, like none of my family members except for my brothers who are also playing basketball have really like seen me play. That's how like I'm a basketball player. My parents don't even know about basketball because like basketball is not like a big thing in Kenya. States, I'm saying as if they're like 4 years, they already introduced the game. The parents know the game. You know what I'm saying? It's like investment. In South Africa high school, Mikey Williams, I've really got like the opportunity to play with like some of the greats, like some of the young rookies in the NBA right now. I play like at least 10 that I can count. I've shared the court with, both like on the same team or opponents. But I'm just saying like those people, like they start early. I'm saying 10 years anacheza under 10, kuna ligi under 10. Kwanza kuna di under 7. Under 7, under 8, all the way to under 18. These tournaments. In Kenya, that's I always hear like this under 18, but like that happens like once in a blue moon. Yeah. No, I'm talking about like kids, like once there's some kids who are like 14, but they're playing under 17 because they've been playing basketball for a long time.
But do you know why that's the case? It's because we've not, or the people in office have not been intentional about showing the parents what basketball is. And as a parent, even Zede, I presume this is a struggle that Zede goes through, even convincing a folk to enroll their children in the academy. The parent is coming from a standpoint of why.
Why, yeah.
So for what benefit? Yeah, you see. So once they see the benefit, once they're able to see that.
But now it's easy. Sorry to cut you short. Because you see now, most parents are using it as a what? As a dumping site. Mm-hmm. They don't want kids in the house. This is the bucket. This is the ball. You see?
Yeah.
But now you see, you have to transform that so that this kid can understand, okay, there's something serious. Because you cannot push that kid. Yeah? I'll not lie to you. I interact with the kids of who's and the what's. Yeah. Sometimes kids are brought there with bodyguards and stuff. And I even have to chase them away. Because now it hinders these kids from just opening up and just being kids. You see? So that is also a challenge on its own. Yeah. But as you say, it's so difficult because at the end of the day, I've invested my time to learn all these things. You have to pay me now. Yeah. I'm not going to do anything for free for you. You have to pay me. So it's an investment.
Another thing about it.
You have to. So parents are struggling, yes, to make sure that, but now it's turning out to be like a dumping site.
Like a dumping site.
Hey, we don't want them on TV every Saturday, 20. Others are being pushed out of the house to just come play basketball, which is a good thing. Yeah. So now I have to make sure that the space is conducive for them to do what? To take up the sport, train the right way, acquire the right skill, you see, and perform at the highest level. You see, because if I look at it at side Ninja could get done kufanya nini, then at the end of the day we lose all these kids, and yet some of them are talented. Like now I'm working with a kid who has autism, and I'll tell you for a fact, even in this room, that kid has a higher accuracy percent than anyone in this room. I can put that kid on the 3-point line and he'll take even 69 shots consecutive. But I'll put somebody who is okay on that line, trust me. Out of 10 shots, what I make in a row. But once you've just taught that kid how to balance, how to do, he'll sit there the whole day. Unaweza enda taa urudi, the kid will just be there. The same thing, hiyo ndo Kenya na repeat. And you see, and then at the end of the day now, if you look at him play with his peers now, the confidence is there.
Yeah.
You see, because now he's confident that he has acquired the right skill to do the right thing. So we also need to, as much as we are doing all this, the training or the output on the court also has to change. You see, yeah, whatever Twende is doing is okay, but it's not enough.
That's even like that's the closest like you can
Yes,
be.
but it's not enough.
But it's not even enough.
Yeah, we need
And you
Nazarene.
can see,
We need,
and like I said, like not culture shock, but like you can see like they do something differently, but they have gone like the whole season unbeaten. So that means like whatever they're doing is working. You know what I'm saying? Like they try to do like things differently, and like all of a sudden like there's a team in Kenya like they play the Premier League. The Premier League should be like okay, it's so competitive and we do it like none of the shinda.
we need like four, 5, 6 teams like 20.
Yeah, we need like a couple of teams, and you're like, if I know like so and so is playing today, I'm pumped. I'm like, hey, game says hata leo, maze tunaenda Nyayo, tunaenda hii place. Like the fans like don't even have like gym imekuwa packed like wasi wengine hata wezi tosha sana. Once we get to that point where like we can sell out gyms, we like not just the players or like the athletes or people who are just investing in that sport, like we have to extend to the parents. If you ask me like to like on our games over there, somebody brings like 6, like one family is like 6 people. They take the whole row here. There's another family sitting right there. There's another family over there. Like with that, they pay the tickets, right? Uko kwanza kuna msee, they take like season tickets. They pay for all the games their season. That's like investment, you know.
Yeah.
That little money you get, you can use to improve like the facilities. It's not. Upper, we don't even like look at like the bigger picture. It's not.
Yeah.
We just focus on like okay, to a stadium and that, and it's just like
Even community ownership. That is also one thing that people
Very
need to
good.
change.
Very
Because you see, like now, for example, you have African Nazarene. They have a football team. They have a basketball team. They have all these teams. All this Rongai community, they need to be coming and filling that gym when Nazarene has a game.
yeah.
You see, because they have owned up the teams, and it will even like the Nazarene buses going there, picking people
up and
taking them to the gym, just to bring that culture. You guys may do it for 1 year as an investment, but after a year or 2, trust me, go jamaa atakuwa anatembea kutoka huko anakuja gym because Jermaine anacheza. Hey Jermaine, hey, kuna mtu pale mzee. You see, but now also that we don't also invest in because all the teams have no community ownership. Yeah.
The closest sporting sections in Kenya that is close to community ownership, I think it's the high school games. Little bit
For
of
soccer.
for soccer.
For
Yeah.
soccer, yeah.
Yeah.
For soccer.
Yes.
What is it? Is it because soccer is
It's more popular.
It's more popular.
more
Yeah.
popular? Because I remember even us in high school when we were playing Kisumu boys against Kisumu Day, man.
Oh,
There's like a
that-
derby, like,
that-
hey,
that was
like
crazy.
the whole
That was
city is
crazy.
coming.
That was
The
crazy.
whole town is coming.
Actually, like
And
I noticed, like when I came to watch the last game of Anu and Thunder, like there was a crazy difference. Like back, like in the States, kukiwa any home game, like the university setup, home game ja mashati zimeandikwa shati ya Jermaine au msanacheza Audrey is playing today. Kwa msee amebuy tu shati ya Audrey, amekana hapo. Kuna wase kuna hizo ma signs for their people. Like I was so surprised.
You're walking into an empty gym.
It was like so empty. Nasema, rada.
Anyway, onto that, and I'd like you to breathe onto something as we get to talk more about this. Bwana SG, allow me to call you Bwana SG. We are manifesting.
God willing.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your take on home games? Zeddy talked about home games. What's your take on home games? Can the Premier League have home games? Most teams in the Premier League, I believe, train in a home court somewhere. Is it something that's possible to do?
I mean, it is. The only issue again we have is the disparity in our infrastructures. So I think that's the biggest issue that we are having in terms of effecting that. So that's why you find that not too many teams have like formidable home courts. So getting that is also a problem. Then again, it's the logistics around having home games. You see, it's a holistic sort of conversation. Say for example, I'll give Strathmore, as Zeddy talked about. Yes, that's an issue I've had for a long time. I think we are a big institution for us not to have top tier sort of sporting facilities. That should be something that should have been dealt with. But I think again, it's the perception of how sports is perceived within the country. So in terms of having home games, especially for basketball, I think there's logistical concern. Say for example, Umoja might today play at the GOA court. They might tomorrow play at another location. They might play at another location. Now that's already a problem in terms of setting up that home game. Secondly, when you're looking at, again, for example, Umoja, how would it be easy to get people to Umoja? You know, how would it be easy to get somebody from Limuru or Thika Road to come to Umoja to watch a game? That is why I think the reasoning behind the league not necessarily structured in terms of teams having home games played in locations that they play in is just the logistical concern. I think that is the big issue. That is why we solely depend on Nyayo to be more so the central place. It's easier to get people to that specific location. So I think having those home games, it's a good thing. It's a good idea, but up until we can have a conversation with the teams, sit down and tell them, you know what, where do you want your home games to be? Have a discussion and ask them, okay, Anu, you want your home games to be at Anu, but Anu is you guys in Rongai. I don't even know if Rongai should be called a place in Nairobi.
It's in the
Jesus,
city,
no. I'm saying this because personally, I'd love. You see, for example, Rongai's environs have very good apartments, affordable apartments. I'd love to live in Rongai, but I look at the distance on where I'm going to do my things and all that kind of stuff. I used to have the same concern even before I started working when I was in campus. Tony would tell us we have a game in Anu. I'm like, oh Lord, that place is so far away. So I think those are the issues that we are having. It's basically pegged on logisticals concern for most of the teams. I think that's why it's not a thing that can be effective.
But how is KRU doing it?
Who?
KRU.
The Kenya
Rugby are having home games in each and every team, despite locations.
Well, let's look at it. I'm trying to think.
Can I chip in?
Yeah.
I think what the federation needs to do, they need to come up with like standard things that you need to have to call a venue your home venue. You see, so if it's a seating capacity, maybe it has to be 1,000 or 500 seating capacity. If it's maybe the lavatories, they need to be there. Even if it's security, it needs to be there. Ambulance, it needs to be there. So they just need to set up. These are the key things that you need, because the biggest challenge when they're having all this conversation, because I'm privy to some of it, was facilities. We didn't have courts, you see. But if a team like KPA has proven that they can host their games in Mombasa at Makande, you guys have a gym. You guys just have to insist that your games have to be played at Nazarene. Then you offer the ambulance, you offer the referees, and what? You see? Yeah. So those are some of the things that I think are a big challenge.
Just to add on that, I feel like if we just invest in like, okay, all the teams, you have to make sure like, you pack your own gym. It's not itape watu. Unasikia kuna kitu inaitwa home advantage, ndio? Like I've never experienced it like vile nilikuwa nacheza baki huko. Like ukicheza mahali, like you don't feel like there's an advantage. Like it's just you playing a game. It's not like other places you've seen like the EuroLeague. You've seen how like the crowds be. Like people have like literally like fire blowing fire like in the crowds. Like like things are like happening. Like there's a home court advantage. Like you know you're playing at home. You feel like love. You play with like passion. You're like every time we played at home, like we were supposed to protect the house. You can't let somebody come from somewhere else and come beat you in front of like everybody else. It's like allowing somebody to just come to your bedroom, just take whatever they want. So that if we had that, like, you know, if we looked at it like that, like this is our home gym, we have to protect it. There are like some teams like Kentucky and them like oh, there's a team in my conference. They haven't lost at home like for the last I don't know how many years. Every time like they play there, you can't win because you have the fan base. Kuna wale mafans wanakuongelesha vibaya. I don't know. unajifeel ujui bake, unataka kushoot free throw, you suck, unajipata airball. Vitu kama hizo, if you have that, like there's like something to compete for. You're trying to impress your audience, no. So if we have like the home courts, you should do a better job, like each team, to market like your team. Anu inacheza na KU like next week.
Oh, crazy.
Lazima like kuwe na posters pale, mazee wase wanajua, mazee kuna game kubwa inakam hivi. Wase wanakuja kuwatch. As university, like these are universities, you know. So that you should take like the initiative to go to the cafeteria. Unaambia majama, there's a game this week. You should come, you should pull up. You should have like things like these free shirts for the first like 100 people. Watu watakuja mapema. Mseka Audrey niko sure ataka shati ya free.
Right, like allow me to cut you short, KJ. Thank you for that. Because our time is well spent, and I'm aware that our brother Alan needed to be in another engagement real quick at 4 p.m. So I'll hold on to my questions for now, and I'd like to open the floor to the audience. If you have any questions at this point, address the question to a specific panelist, and I beg us to answer it briefly so that we can release Alan for the next segment.
Okay. First of all, thank you. My name is James Karam, student athlete in Canada, doing my IT, information technology. So I would like to appreciate you guys for your time. We really learn a lot from you guys. So hopefully some of us some will change for the advice you guys have given to us. So I think I have around 3 questions to Zedi. Then 1 question, then 2. So that time.
You can reduce the list to 2. Reduce the list to 2. Then the 1 as you say.
Okay, that's it.
In fact, reduce it to 1. So we give other guys a chance.
Okay. As a coach, Zedi, now, what challenges do you face as a coach? Like as a coach now, what challenges do you face mostly? And then who inspired you to be a coach? You know, like you didn't wake up in the morning like you just started to be a coach. Who inspired you to be a coach? And who inspired you like to be a basketball player first of all? So.
Okay, I'll try to answer them all quick. The first person who inspired me was Steve Francis. Steve Francis was a point guard in the NBA. It was my height. So that is the guy that I followed most. And I tried to emulate my game or play like him. So when I'm playing, the guys who saw me play, I used to assist more than score because that was Steve Francis. Me transitioning into coaching, I wanted to play pro basketball. The more I grew up, the more old I got, I was like, this is not happening. So I had to transition because I love sports. So I transitioned from being a player to a coach, and also some of the challenges were, while growing up, I had nobody to lead me. Yes, I had coaches. Yeah, I had coaches who will take me to that tournament, do that. But nobody took their time to teach me, okay, this skill, if you do this, you improve on it, this and this. So that also inspired me, just going back and working with someone and just ensuring that they get better. And then the biggest challenge that we find as coaches is consistency. Majority of players are not consistent, and that is the biggest challenge, and that is why most players can't get to the level they need to get to. Because if you are into the sport and you want to grow, then you have to be consistent. Yeah, the way I told you, education is long term, development is also long term. You work on your skill every single day. So you have to train every single day of your life. Every single day of your life, for you to keep on maintaining that standards of being better and eventually being great.
Thank you. Mr. Oduor, so what challenges are you facing in the States now? How as you face in Kenya?
Okay, one thing like for sure, it's a different country still. Like you don't have like familiar faces you used to. Also, kuna you're by yourself most of the time, and at times you just need to have friends you can make some childhood memories, like jokes about, like somebody who can just be there for you. At times, like, you can have everything, right? Like in the States, it's hard to lack a lot of, like, it's over to the tangible, like money, all that. At times it can be hard, but at times, it's not like a big of a deal because like it's always taken care of. But like there's sometimes like you just feel so empty, and when I feel maze, learning each other vibaya. I don't even have somebody to talk to. You don't want to call your parents because like the time difference is not so bad. Juko say, I don't know what time is it, but like the time difference is bad. So like kupata namse, you have to stay up either too late or not wake up mapema. Like at least get to one guess. So at times like that's the family thing, or just like just time you want to talk to a friend who really knows you, you've grown up with, you've gone through some stuff with them. Like I don't really get that opportunity just to get that taste of that.
Thank you. So now, first of all, I would like to wish you the best in the coming election next year.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So my question is, what will you change in KBF if they choose you to be a leader?
Mm-hmm.
What will you change in KBF which is not there, or which you change? What will you change in KBF, like to improve Kenyan basketball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First things first, the most fundamental thing that needs to change when it comes to Kenyan basketball, also by extension to KBF, is at least now we've started the conversation. Tomorrow there's a public participation for the same, and that is the fundamental document called the KBF Constitution. You cannot run a federation with a document that's retrogressive and hasn't necessarily been adapted to changing circumstances. So the first bit of it needs to be changed, and I'm lucky that we're having this conversation. They're welcoming public participation and taking the views in. So there is an SGM, which is a special general meeting that will be held in June to see to it that once all this is finalized, everything is effected. So that's the first bit. I'm lucky that is already ongoing. Secondly, I've always been of the idea that to revolutionize basketball, the federation needs to recognize that the first and the most important stakeholders are the players. Every other thing comes second. Team managers, coaches, every other person. The most fundamental aspect of a federation are the players. Without the players, there's no federation. So we need to take more importance in ensuring that our local players get the best out of the federation, because in as much as we are focusing on trying to compete at an international level, trying to go for the international competitions, trying to basically make the national team better, it cannot be at the expense of our local league struggling. So we need to make the local league as productive for the local players so that it creates that excitement. That's the second thing. Thirdly, as we've talked about right here, for basketball to change, we need what I call knee-jerk reactions. We need things that need to be ignited as of today and things that are long-term. The first thing that needs to change is basketball needs to break that ceiling of the players being the fans. Right now, we don't have, I say basketball is dead because we've not broken that ceiling to sell the game to the people outside there. That's why it's hard for you to get people living in Rongai to come to African Nazarene to watch your games. It's because we've not shown the people outside there the importance of getting involved with basketball. So we need to break that ceiling, and breaking that ceiling means you need to, which gets me to my fourth point, you need to create a channel. The current people who are in office haven't necessarily been intentional about creating a channel of communication between people and them. That is why you don't have progress. When you want to go find life, you need to be open to criticism, both positive and negative, because that's how you grow. So you create that channel to allow Zede, to allow KJ to be like, okay, I think this can be done. I can bring in this, I can do this. So once you create that channel of communication between other stakeholders, then that gives you that leeway to improve the current circumstances and move the federation forward. That's just on a basic sort of way. But of course, there are other issues that involve bureaucracy, there are other issues that take a lot of time, there are other issues that have to involve other stakeholders, and we need to have a more intimate and structured sort of conversation to see how we can change the federation. But from a layman's perspective, as I've laid out, those are the things that I'd love to do just from the tip and see if we can get basketball moving. And I'm sure if I was to be in office with other like-minded people in the next 3 to 4 years, people should start seeing the fruits of basketball in terms of you coming to the gym and being able to say that I can play basketball, and even in as much as I'm not getting a salary, I know I have a game on Saturday. The money that I'm going to get there can help me sort my fare, can help me do A, B, and C. In some instances, the people who pay rent for 8,000, it could help them. So I want us to get to a point where there's value for you waking up every day and training, because right now there's no value. People play for what I call nyayo fame, and it doesn't help you. The next thing you realize, you're 40 years old and you've lost your life playing basketball with the game not giving you anything back.
Thank you so much. Moving forward, I'd like panelists, if I can request, can we shoot all the questions at once, then you can handle it. You handle it at a go so that we save on back and forth time. The next person, Fulu.
Hello, I'm new. I'm a student athlete at African Nazarene. My first question goes to KJ, right?
Yeah.
How do you prepare yourself to transition to new teams and new systems? And Zedi, as a coach, how do you prepare a new player to transition through your systems as a coach? My second question goes to Zedi. How do you prepare your sportsmen to pro ball? Because I feel like when we were young, we were not taught that you will have to go to the gym when you want to play pro ball. You'll have to do other things despite just dribbling and shooting. We were not prepared for that. So Zedi, how do you prepare your players for that? Alan, you want to be a leader, and we wish you all the best in that. And as far as the position you've held now, what are you doing that you do not know of that we are supposed to be concerned as sportsmen in terms of basketball and other sports? How do you view women's basketball in Kenya, because it has taken a whole new perspective around the world? And in regards to distance, I think Coast is farther now from Nairobi, right? I don't think coming to Nazarene is a problem from town as regards to going to Mombasa. My last point is, when you get that position, I think, this is a suggestion, I think we should hold teams to their standards. What are you doing for you as a team? What are you doing for your players? I feel like you just can't go and say Jason Tatum has an injury, and what have you been doing to Jason Tatum to come back to the game? I feel like as sportsmen, the thing that we're afraid most is injuries. So in Kenya, I feel like we're not addressing that too much.
Okay.
The last thing is, last question. We need to. I feel like we need to advertise basketball more. My 8-year-old grandmother is not going to read a newspaper about basketball. She needs to hear it from her news. She likes her news.
Any other questions, Brian?
To me, I have only one question. I'll start. My name first is Brian Mabuda. I'm from African Nazarene. I'll start with my question is to you is you have talked about the infrastructure, the way KBF handle the Premier League games. It is not that encouraging, because you can find the supporters staying at home. They don't want to come to see the game because of the infrastructure. But how do you think the KBF can improve that? Because as per now, we are towards the playoffs, and the only arena that is going to be used is the probably. And it's not that we don't have a good arena. We have Kasarani, which is very good. which has a nice environment, which has a good infrastructure. How do you think the KBF can improve that? Because this KBF league, like if I can say, is semi-pro league in Africa, if I can say. So how do you think the KBF can improve that? And to KJ, you're from the state. What always motivates you to play basketball, to have that high academic career? Because you have to me, what I always believe is like, there is always that thing that always motivates you to wake up that early morning. Because you have a very tight schedule, each and every day to wake up in the gym, being in the court, taking your studies, see. So what always motivates you on that? And to Coach Zeri, the question that I have from you is, as per now, the kids have said, 20 is unbeaten team for first leg to second leg. What do you think other teams can do to improve their game, or other coaches can do to improve their team in order to be competitive in this league? Because this is the top league in Kenya. So what do you think coaches can do to improve their teams? Because the only team that have proven to us that is closer to beat 200 is Equity. So what encouragement can you give to other coaches, to other players, like what they can do to be 200?
Any last question?
I have one question.
Okay, let me jump to hockey. Let me and the only lady so far.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sir.
Thank you, Papa. My name is Esther. I think my question is cut across. I don't play basketball. I've never played basketball.
Yeah.
But now.
You watch though? Do you watch? Well, don't worry. We'll make you start watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now my question goes to. I think the first class will be graduating now. I'm into education system.
Yeah.
The first class in CBC will be next year, 2025. And if you look now, the way the classes have been split out the school, now the bright students will have to go to the national schools. Now the STEM, because if you pass in mathematics and sciences, that's when you go to the national school. And extra county now we come to the sports, to arts, now to and other social sciences. Now, my question is, I know you are all aware. In your high school era, you used to know that you will not find a student participating in games, right? Now, I'm wondering, the average students are the ones that participate mostly in sports, or the poor students. You'll find a person getting an E, but is very best in basketball, hockey, and other games. Now my question is, to the three of you, how are we going to make sure that now we are going to nurture these talents in these schools, alongside now the studies? Because if you go to the national school, you'll be having to study engineering and such, so you'll not have to nurture your talent there. If you wanted to nurture your talent in the other school now, nurturing now your talent sports and other things. No, that's my question now.
Okay.
How are you going to make sure that we are nurturing talents in those schools?
Okay. Was another?
All right. So at this point, Sami and Kur, hold on to your questions. We are coming to you. I'd like Alan to respond to your question, so we release you real quick. Then we'll still come back to the questions. Then after Alan responds, we'll have a short ceremony right here to see of Alan. Then KJ and Zedi will continue answering the questions asked.
Wait. We go?
Yeah.
Oh no, you're still giving
Yeah. So we can have KJ and Zedi respond to the questions. Then we come back to the floor. So you can go in regards to your responding to your questions.
Yeah. I don't know. Either of you, were the questions, any of them directed to me? Oh, okay, you?
Oh, my question is.
Okay, to them. Okay, fine. All right. Oh, you had my. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So that I just take them out.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd like to say that I like you as a person.
I've been seeing your socials.
Thank you.
How you speak about basketball and
Yeah.
improving.
Yeah.
So my question is like, if suppose you get the champ, which I pray that you get the
SG.
SG position, like in the first, let me just put it in the first 3 months. I'd like you to share to us like, what will you do in the first 3 months.
Okay.
Then I saw in your manifesto like there's this point of player, team, and league welfare. I'd like you to expound it more.
Okay. All right.
Actually, I have one basic question, right?
Yeah.
I would like to know one thing, like, well, I mean, when you guys grew up, you do not have guys like you to walk you through things like you're doing right now. So I would say, like, what's something that you wish someone told you earlier in your earlier career, like sport-wise, or maybe other things like personal life or whatever. I mean, yeah. What's the most basic thing someone has? You wish someone told you earlier or wish you knew earlier. It goes to all three of you.
Good question. All right. Let me start with you if I can remember them. I wasn't noting them down, so I'll see if I can remember. The first one was what I'm currently doing with regards to that. Good question. That was basically my motivation to get into what I'm doing right now. It's because for a very long time, we've not necessarily been intentional about trying to fix the game. We've always been keyboard warriors, just basically talking and expecting somebody to do something for you. And what I've learned in life is that if you want something done well, you have to do it by yourself. And that is why I presented myself, because I was tired of every other day responding to players asking me for 300 shillings, Alan Nisaidie Fao, Nini. That is not a solution, because you'll constantly be asking me for money to assist you do A, B, and C. And most of these people are people who play basketball. When you go out, they can't buy alcohol. You're the one who has to buy alcohol for them. And they come to the clubs with their ladies. It's such a sad state of affairs. If you haven't lived it, you can't understand where this person is coming from. So that is the reason as to why I chose to present myself for leadership, because I needed to start moving things around so that basketballers can have that some sort of small respect for themselves when they're playing the game. Secondly, you talked about women basketball. That is the saddest state of affairs in Kenyan basketball. It's pathetic. Ladies don't want to listen to it, but I tell you, it's the most pathetic state of basketball in our country. Why do I say so? You can't have a league where a team outscores you in the magnitude of 82-34. So what are the players coming to watch? If you ask yourself, from a business perspective, you want to switch this to a business perspective and get me to the stadium. The reason as to why people go watch some of these NCAA games is because the competition is at par. You get excitement from both ends. You don't know which team is going to win. You're like, oh, but why would I go to Nyayo, spend 2-3 hours of my time to go and watch KPA thrash another team 84, and I already know the outcome? What's the point? So that's why I say the Kenyan women basketball state is the saddest and most pathetic state of basketball affairs, and it needs to change. And I gave solutions. The first thing that needs to happen for women basketball is run the entity exclusive from the men's league. It's the most basic thing. Don't play it at the same time you're playing the men's league. Why? The men's league are constantly going to eat into that fan base, and the games are going to be played in the early. That is why you have the women and the women games being played before the men's game. Why? Because it's deemed unimportant. It's because people don't want to say it, but I'll say it. It's because people say, ile game ya day match ichezwe 9, ichezwe 12. No. It needs some thinking around it so that we have games where we can know that a game is being played at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. and I'll take my time to come to Nya and watch both of these women teams play. And that's why I give the solution. One, run the league away from the men's league. That means when the men are playing the league, don't play the women's league. They'll come after. That means we're able to drive all the traffic, drive all the business opportunities there, and single-handedly focus on women. Secondly, reduce the number of teams. Why do I say so? I say so because, unfortunately, and it's not something that's exclusive to Kenya, it's a global phenomenon. Often or not, when it comes to basketball, we have a larger talent pool of men as compared to women. We have a few women who are extremely good at basketball. As compared to men, the talent pool for men is larger than the talent pool for women. So that therefore means if you're spreading out this small talent pool, you're getting low benefit and the value is depreciating by the day. So reduce the teams, and that's why I asked a question: how many, for the guys who play basketball, how many ladies do you know can give us the quality basketball that Natalie gives us? Very few. How many players can give us the quality that Melissa gives us? I can count on my hands. But when it comes to the men's team, how many men can give us the type of basketball that what is your name? Audrey. I had KJ referring to you a lot, so I'll use you. We know a couple, at least. Brand. So we know we have a couple of brands. I know it's a very emotive and sensitive conversation, but when you play it separately, reduce the number of teams, that means you've concentrated the talent in one pool. Say, for example, we have 8 teams and 6 out of those teams can give us super matches on a weekly basis. Then therefore, we have a league now. We have a league, right? Women's. What was the last one you asked about? You've forgotten. Fine, I'll move to as you remember it. The other one was on. Yes, yours was on. What? Yours was on.
Concerning the environment.
Or concerning the infrastructure and okay. Now for that, Nyayo needs to. You just back to the point that Zede gave us. Nyayo is small. I know it's small. In my long term, if I get into office, my long-term solution was talk to stadium management. They're the guys responsible for this. Nyayo can be expanded. Break down that wall. The other place that we use for warm-ups is a wasted space. I think so. That place that you're having on there, it's a conversation that we can have with the stadium management. It's a waste of space. Break down that wall, extend the indoor arena. I know the people are going to argue that this space is used by other sports. Those other sports can use the arena when it's not being used. But break down this wall, extend it and cover that. If you extend that, I'm telling you, you have a semi-facility. You're already now starting to have the conversation of having a good facility. Break down the wall, make Nyayo a bit bigger so that it accommodates even the players. Because right now, even a space for somebody bounding the ball where people are walking, it's cumbersome. So that is a conversation that I can have. In terms of infrastructure, what you need to do is get other people on board. Just get other people on board. Use the spaces that you have and try and bring these people involved in event planning in terms of creating entertainment to have it more appealing to the people. That's how you do it. We can work with Nyayo. Nyayo can make, I told somebody from the top of my head, if you do a good game, Nyayo on Saturday, even before we talk about anything, we can do 700 to 800,000 in terms of ticket sales. That's just that. Close to $1 million, just ticket sales. And everybody is seated well. Everybody has their own thing. It just takes the mind and conversation that the people don't want to do. What your question was on, there's a question I'm missing. Your question was on? The girl.
First 3 months.
First 3 months, good question. The first 3 months, people have short-term, long-term goals in whatever thing that they're doing. For the short term, in the first 3 months, my conversation would be around structuring the league. We run a league that we don't know when people's disposable incomes are going to be open. Do you know how the NBA is structured? The NBA is structured with seasons. They know this is the time, this is happening. A lot is taken into consideration. Weather patterns, what, everything is taken into consideration. For a place right here in Kenya, we just have a league that is communicated and run from this day to day. We don't take into consideration that our funds are going to be occupied. Probably it's a season that people don't have money, even how our games are structured over the weekend and all that kind of stuff. So the first 3 months would be to have a conversation on how we're structuring the league so that we tap into other opportunities that are outside there in terms of basically generating revenue for the federation. That would be my first 3 months. Of course, the conversation on the change of the constitution is already ongoing, so that would probably be onward as we speak. But I think those are the things from the top of my head. I believe I've not just answered you. What was yours?
Motivated you.
Yeah.
Growing up, what is one thing that when you look back and you wish somebody told you?
Okay. What I wish somebody would have told me when I was a bit younger was to regret is something that I don't have. So I always struggle answering that question. I don't have any regrets. I'm trying to think of what somebody would have told me when I was a bit younger in relation to sports, was just to think past the game. If I had this mindset when I was young, I think I would have handled things better in terms of just positioning myself, because I would have been alive to the fact that this is the environment that we're living in. We're not in an environment that appreciates sports as much. We're not in an environment that rewards sports personalities. So I would have been able to position myself better in terms of how I'd run my day-to-day life. And I think that's only the one thing that somebody did not tell me, because when I was growing up for a very long time, my focus was on the game, and the game. And I think I was a pretty good player. I still am. Sina gas to kidogo. I'm a bit unfit.